Well, I'm not sure what happened with our audio there, but welcome to the show, everyone. How's it going? I'm Sheriff Lord Squire Pride, aka Frog the Pirate, and tonight on Pirates Pub and Academy, we're gonna be doing some acrylic paintings, and just waiting for some folks to fill in here. Tonight, scheduled to be joining me is going to be Talia Stormbringer of Trader's Gate. And Talia and I spoke a little earlier. She might be running a couple of minutes late, but that's alright. We're going to get in there and we're going to have some fun anyways. Alright, so without further ado, I think I'm probably just going to jump right into it here and get this show rolling. So, first up, I guess I'm going to need to share my screen. Alrighty. Here we are. So, hopefully everyone can see that. Pardon the mess on the table there. Alright. Hi. Everybody can see me way back in the background there. Alright. So I'm going to make my way over there to my easel and cut this video stream over here. And you may experience somewhat of a delay between what you're seeing and what I am saying. I'll try to remember this as I work this evening. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started on a space painting, huh? Sound like fun? I know I'm excited. Oh, throw some more things on the ground over there. Alright, so, well, first thing to remember is, you don't have to worry. But if you don't have an easel or some of this fancy stuff that I have, that's not a big deal. Just need some really basic stuff to do with space painting. That's kind of why I chose it. So first of all, you're going to need what you're painting on. Alright, for me tonight, this is going to be an easel with a nice canvas stretched around a wooden frame. Alright, so you might be painting on wood, or when I first started painting acrylics to save some money, and I found it to be a lot of fun, I found just a mirror and painted on the mirror, and I would keep a razor blade there. Whenever things were dry and I was done with it, I'd take a picture and then just scrape it off. Or if I made a mistake that I wasn't really happy with, I could just take that blade and scrape it right off. So that might be something fun for you to try. And I ended up doing a couple of them that I was so happy with the painting that was on the mirror that we ended up sealing it, and it's forever like that. So that's cool. If that's something you're interested in, let me know, and I'll give you a few pointers on how to work that out. Alright, so I guess another thing I need to do real quick is I should probably put my Discord feed on the screen that I can see, so that if any of you lovely people join in this evening, I might actually have a clue. So I'm going to take care of that real quick. And let's see, I'm going to do this right here. Hopefully this doesn't mess up my stream. Just double check it there. Yeah, I was kind of afraid that was about to happen. Alright, well, we'll just move it back. Not a big deal. And hopefully everything's still running nicely here. Which I'm not entirely convinced that it is at this point. I should have just left well enough alone, right? Now, let's see about fixing this real quick. Because apparently I'm an idiot. So bear with me as I repair my silly technical error that I created here. I was just trying to make it better, man. Just trying to make it better. Ah, goodness. Let this be a lesson. If things are going good, man, sometimes you should probably just let it be. Because now I got all these silly problems. Alright, let's do this again. Great. Way to go, pirate. Way to go. And, well, joy. Now that I've gotten that part back. Hey, Constantine, how's it going, man?
Hey, pretty good.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
here. We're just getting stuff set up.
right on. Yeah, I had everything all nice and pretty, and then I made some ridiculous blunder just now. Because I was trying to get it to where I could see Discord when someone came in. Alright.
Hey, you can hear me all right,
Yes, I hear
correct?
you just fine, sir.
Cool.
So what if I wanted to link to this, what would I put? I wonder.
What do you
Alright,
mean?
so
Like
let's
I wanted to
try this
post
again.
Try this again. You would have to. Well, shit, just. Hey, Pirate, have you made a post about this today?
Now I'm having an issue understanding you, man.
Did you make a post for today about
Yeah,
this
probably.
group?
I don't think so, but I just posted
Goodness gracious.
one. Worst case, we could do it next week or something if everybody shows up. But I'm ready. You have your are you trying to do your
Alright.
No. You just press video button.
here, I'll wait. Alright. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Turn on the camera. Allow. Thank you. Ooh. Okay. I am here. Oh, why did it turn off? I'm not Constantine. I can't hear you, Midnight.
Oh my gosh. Alright. Midnight, I still have no sound for you. You look very dapper in that
Oh, I
nice.
had to talk.
There you go. Hi. Hey, look. And it looks like my image is back. Briefly. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's see.
For a second.
Let's try.
All right. Hello.
Please stop. You know I hate the cowboy hat on you. You turn into a different person.
I do.
All right.
I don't like it.
It's back.
I
Right.
just made the post. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes to see if we have anyone show up, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. And just so everyone knows, this is live streaming. It is going
Right.
to the Celestial Kingdom of Amtgard's page, my Twitch, and the Celestial Kingdom's YouTube. So
Fancy.
we all know how excited we can get at times to time. So let's try and keep this PC, so to be. Look at you, Midnight. Oh my goodness.
Don't encourage them.
I will
Don't do
encourage
it.
it. I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take her dancing.
Don't.
I
Don't do
will.
this.
I will. And
The
Midnight can
cowboy
step on
hat
my
is literally the
toes,
worst hammer.
and
I will put holes in the dance floor.
I'll be your wingman, and you can be my wingman, and we'll both keep each other out of trouble. No, probably not.
Nah, I'm all about the shenaniganery.
Okay, so the last thing I need to confirm is that stream is good, stream is good. Okay. At least I think.
I posted my first video to the YouTube the other day, and it was the gumbo tutorial that I did.
Was that your first one?
I saw I saw it up there.
I made
Yeah.
a tutorial, like a cook-along sort of thing, on how to cook gumbo, because I'm from Louisiana, and it's thebomb.com. It's pretty great.
Sweet. Alright, so just to confirm, everyone hears me okay. You can see the canvas?
I'll be right back. Yes, we can see the campus.
Cool. Okay, so you've got plenty of time because I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in like I was about to do until things weren't good enough for me for whatever reason.
I like that easel.
Thank you. I really enjoy this easel. It accommodates lots of sizes and does all kinds of crazy adjustments. So I can paint on lots of different things with it. All right, so
Yeah,
jumping
it's
right in.
the same exact easel I gave to Bethany right now.
How you get? You see what? You
Oh, I want food. I haven't
Oh,
eaten yet.
that's pretty.
how you gonna do me like that in the middle of my? I'm supposed to be.
It's really good. You should eat it.
Yeah, but I
You should
can't.
eat that.
You guys don't want to see me eat eggs, man. It's scary.
Yeah, we do. People pay money for that sometimes. All I'm saying.
She's got a point.
Okay, well, hello, Celestial Kingdom of Amtgard. It's a good thing that this is Pirates Pub and Academy, because apparently, I've got to at least knock these eggs out real quick, because no one likes cold eggs. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be painting.
Oh, I'm so jealous. It's fine. We're not going to paint quite yet. I'm just going to talk for a sec anyway. While we wait around for a
Use
minute.
the yolk.
I'm gonna mute. By all means, yeah, talk
Sounds
away.
good.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're doing great. So, today I wanted to do something pretty easy. This can be a really good background for a lot of paintings. And I brought one of my favorite paintings that I was going to show you guys that actually has the background we're going to do today, but in black and white, which you can use any colors, honestly. I'm going to use like just blue and black and white today, but oh, it's a little short. Let me back it up a bit. So to give you an idea,
Pretty.
this is a painting that I did, and these clouds and this background are what we are going to be doing today. And you can literally put anything in front of it, and it looks awesome. So that makes it nice. I think that I might do my sky and then do like a gold Triforce or something in the middle, because we have an ANS coming up at Trader's Gate that's going to be like Legend of Zelda themed. So I think that's a great idea. And I do have gold paint, but you could use whatever. So the things you need are a white acrylic paint, a black acrylic paint, and Honestly, you can use any other colors. Like if you want like a sunset, you could do like a blue, purple, and pink. You could do just what I'm doing, which is just black to a blue. But either way, a gradient effect always looks super nice. So just pick a gradient. If you want to do like a more like sunset sort of thing, you could do even like blue, purple, orange. There's a lot of cool things you can do. Like there is no limit. Your imagination is the limit. You could do purple clouds. You could do pink clouds. It doesn't matter. It's art.
Natalia, for those who are watching who might not be versed in these vocabulary, what do we mean when we say gradient? And here's a good example of purple and blue.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes,
So a
this is
gradient. That's a great example. Go ahead.
So there's a good example of probably very, very similar technique as to what you're about to use. And Talia is going to discuss what a gradient is for those of you who might not know.
Yes. So a gradient is just fancy schmancy for when you fade from one color to another. So super simple way to put that is just we're going to fade from one color to another. So you can do like a purple and then it'll fade into a pink and then it'll fade into an orange, right? There are a lot of different ways you can go with it. There are a lot of cool things you can do. You could do your sky and then do mountains at the bottom, but we're just going to do the sky today. And then I'm going to put something in the middle of mine. You don't have to. You can just do the sky. You don't even have to paint along. Just enjoy the ride. So I am going to start with my big flat brush. This is a super cheap one. It really doesn't matter, guys. Like, you don't have to spend a fortune to paint well. You just have to use your imagination and believe in yourself. You usually want to start with your darkest color on top. Reason being, yes, that is fancy. I love it, Pirate. That's a perfect brush. So the reason that you want to do dark to light is because usually you're doing, when you look at the night sky, you can still see the lighter colors near the horizon in nature. And if you're doing a sunset, then obviously your sun is down at the bottom, your color goes up from there, and then it starts getting darker at the top. So either way, I would recommend doing your darkest colors on top and your lighter colors on bottom. So because I am doing a night sky and not a sunset sky today, I'm going to do black at the top, and then it's going to go to like a midnight blue, and then it's going to go to blue at the bottom. So I've got my super fancy color palette, like where I'm going to put the paint, as you can see. Very nice. It does not, you don't have to be fancy. That's all I'm saying. Like, people think that art, you just have to be like, you have to have all these expensive things. This canvas, I bought a pack of 10 for like $12 or something at Michael's, you know? You don't have to spend a lot of money. You just have to put in the time and the effort and the love. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with my darkest color at the top. Pirate, you can join in whenever you want. You finish eating your food. Hashtag priorities.
I'm about caught up.
Okay. And one thing that I will say, it really makes the painting look a lot more finished if you finish the edges of your canvas as you go. So as you can see, this is a three-dimensional canvas. Some of them are flat, and then it doesn't really matter as much. But this one has a little bit of a border on the sides. You want to paint around that. We want to incorporate the whole thing. So go ahead and kind of paint your edges, get those laid down. And I'm going to be using 3 different colors, so I'm basically going to just mentally divide it into roughly 3 parts. So you can see down the edge, I kind of am pulling it down to roughly a third, right? It does not have to be perfect. Art does not need to be perfect to be wonderful. And neither do you.
Words of the wise.
Yeah. All right, so I've got my sides painted and putting it down. What colors are you doing, Pirate?
Well, my painting tonight is going to be a space painting. So obviously, to get started on that, we need a nice black background. So I'm going to get started, and you'd be surprised, it really doesn't take as much paint as people might believe when it comes to acrylics. Not so much when you're dealing with oils. Oils, the reason it's so expensive is there is a lot of paint that goes into it. But not
And
so
they're
much with
such
acrylic.
small little tubes.
So, for those of you who are doing the space painting, I just took this particular color is permanent black. I like to use permanent black for space because it's a somewhat of a dull black, but it's also very deep and captivating, so to speak, and it doesn't have ridiculous gloss that's gonna offset our picture. So just like Talia said, and her canvas as well has the ridge, we want to make sure that we have a total coat on our canvas.
Pull your canvas down into the frame, hon.
Are you there? Oh, my bad. There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect. I can see it now.
I'm just gonna real quick, we want to make sure and get these colors on the corners real good. Okay, and as you notice, I'm not really concerned about making this perfectly black. Okay, space is not perfectly black for one thing. Light penetrates from all different sides. So I'm going to continue to cover this, and Talia, I'm going to let you continue to explain your painting.
Sure. So I've already went over it with one layer of black. I think I'm going to do just a little bit more because there's a couple of brush strokes, and because I already kind of have some variation with the different colors, I'm going to make my black like pitch black. So I want to put a little bit more so that I can't see my tiny little brush strokes as much. And then with acrylics, if you want to blend colors, you want to do it while the two paints that you are trying to blend are still wet. And what I would do is I would just keep using the same brush. Do not bother cleaning this brush because the point is to blend it, right? And that'll kind of add to it without you having to do a lot. It kind of does a lot of the blending work for you. I have new paint, so I had to open it. I'm catching up. All right, so I have my blue, and because I still have some black on my brush, I'm going to start right where the black is and just kind of keep going up and down in between the black and where I'm putting down the blue until it's nice and blended up and down. This is very soothing. I feel like this is a good stress reliever. And then make sure that you're going down the sides.
It's painting, so it's always perfect.
Yeah.
I like what Bob Ross says. There's no such thing as a mistake, just a happy accident.
I love it.
And it's very applicable. So in this particular case, I'm going to be using what we refer to as some negative space for a lot of this work. So because of that, and negative space refers to taking the contrast. Gypsy's making her contribution to my painting as usual. It's that time of year. She's shedding.
I feel that.
Okay, so first of all, I think I'm going to take this little guy and slide it down a little bit.
Angel.
There we go. And I think that looks a little bit better. And everybody's like, pirate, I can't see. It's black, guys. Alright, and then one thing I want to point out, Talia is talking about the sunsets and starting from dark to light. When I paint, that's one of the few times that I actually do that. Just about every other time, I will start with my lightest spot and work out from that. And the reason being, for one, is it's a lot easier to take something light and make it darker. For 2 is financially, the amount of materials it takes to do it that way is quite a bit less. Because you're starting with the light. Whereas if you're trying to cover something black up with white, it's going to continue to muddle on you, and it's just going to take you forever to actually get it white. Whereas if you started with the white and worked backwards, then it's really easy to go darker. But in this case, we're working on a landscape, and that's one of the few times that I find that Talia is absolutely right. You want to start with your darker spots and work your way out that way.
A good
Take
way
it
to
away,
work your
Talia.
light color over your dark color is to add a little bit of white to it. Just a little.
Can you repeat that one more time?
So if your yellow is horrible at covering black, but if you mix a tiny bit of white into it, and even with other very light pigmented colors, mix just a little bit of white into it, and it gives it the opacity enough to overpower the black.
Fancy. All right, so I've got my blue. I've got my blue and my black. I'm going to add a little bit of white to my blue to make it a little bit brighter. And then I'm going to do the very bottom. Same thing, I'm just going to leave what's on my brush and start working it up and down until that is evenly blended. And you're happy with it. It doesn't even have to be evenly blended though, honestly. You know, like, if you want it kind of choppy looking, then that's fine too. There's no wrong way to do this, you know?
Alright, and so for those of you that are working on your space painting, once we get this nice black background done, however dark you want it, that's entirely up to you. We're gonna want to let that set, okay? And there's something very important to know about an acrylic. It's water-based, so like Talia said, for the blending, you want to make sure both your colors are wet. The reason being is if you have one dry color and then you come behind and you've got now wet paint and you're putting it down on your dry color, more often than not, rather than applying paint, you're actually going to pull the paint up off of your canvas. And that's due to the way acrylic works. When it's wet, it's got these little polymers and they stretch out, and as it dries, it tightens up and it becomes kind of like a plastic. But then when you come back over it and you hit it with water again, all of a sudden that beautiful color that you had on your canvas is now a muddled mess on the tip of your nice brush, and now you've got this big glob on the end you got to deal with, and it's just a nightmare. So what we're about to do is we're going to be masking off some areas so that we can create planets and suns, and because of that we want to make sure that that acrylic is really dry, right? Because we don't want to put tape, no matter how light it is. I'm using just some general masking tape this evening. I generally try and use blue painter's tape. I wasn't able to acquire any. We're going with what I got. But like I said, because of that, we want to make sure it's really dry, because if I put tape down on it while it's even slightly damp, when I'm done, when I pull that tape up, guess what happens? The paint is gone. And now I've got this just a big white tape spot, and that really is not cool. So, alright. So we're going to be letting our black set, and that's perfect because I think Talia is ready to move on with her painting.
Yeah, thankfully mine does not need a lot of dry time. You can do it while it's wet, and the reason is because the edges of clouds kind of feather out. So the way it is you're trying to mimic nature, which is sometimes difficult to do, but with this it's pretty easy, thankfully. You get your fluffy makeup brush, and like I got this one real cheap. I think I got this one from like the dollar store or something. It does not have to be expensive. And you get your colors that you want your clouds, and you do the lightest color first. Like if you're doing a pink, go with the darker pink. Or I'm doing white, so I'm going to start with just plain white. So give me just a second.
In case anyone's wondering, no, I'm not throwing this painting around and waving it in the air to help dry it off.
Okay.
I can see someone, what is he doing?
Smacking it around. So I've got it on my brush, and I'm just gonna, let me bring my super fancy palette over, just dab it all over the brush. So that's not a lot in one specific area, right? Like it's kind of spread around on the brush. And wherever you want your clouds to start at the top is what you're gonna do. And the way clouds are, they don't really have a super defined shape. So if you wanted to go above and beyond, you could always go online and just get pictures of the sky with clouds and kind of mimic what you see. But honestly, there's no specific way to do this. Clouds come in every shape and size. So as long as you don't have a square cloud, you're probably fine. So I'm going to start by just kind of dabbing it on. And because our paint is still a little bit wet, I'm getting a bit of the blue in my cloud. And that's actually perfect because that makes it look like the cloud. You can see a little bit of the sky through it, which is accurate. That's what you see in real life. So I'm kind of dabbing around the edge so I get my edges. I got a little cloud on this side. And every time I dip back into my white, I'm dabbing it off first before I hit the canvas with it. So that's one more white. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of work on a cloud over here, I think. Like I said, there's no real rhyme or reason to this. It's just whatever makes you happy, you know? Let's see. You can see my brush is like getting bigger as I go. And that's fine because we don't want super well-defined clouds, which is why I really like the makeup brush because it's very fine bristles on it. It's very floofy. So I've got kind of my first layer of clouds. I'm going to start working on my second layer. So I'm going to make another couple of clouds below it. And then if Pirate wants to go ahead, are you dry yet? Is your painting dry? Yeah? Do you want to go ahead and do some more stuff while I paint more clouds?
Certainly. Okay. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to need our masking tape. And remember I said you would need a razor for this, or an X-Acto knife. It needs to be really, really sharp though. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to pick a couple of spots. I like this spot here. Start with that one. Okay, I'm just going to throw some tape down. And then from your material list, I asked for you to have some various round objects. And grab my pen here. So we're going to take whatever round object you wanted. In this case, I think right there we're just going to do a little small guy. You're going to take your round object and make you a nice little trace. You can use pen, a pencil, it doesn't matter. I generally try and use like a liquid pen so I don't have to put a lot of pressure. Right? Like, oh gosh, Pirate, that's a horrible circle. It was just a guide. Right? So then we're going to take that and very, very lightly, it's very important that you do this very lightly because if you don't, you're going to slice right through your canvas. And that's not a good day for anybody. Then, well, that's pretty much self-explanatory. You've now got a hole in your canvas, and that doesn't work out well. Right? And generally, I do this down on the table because I find it's easier to hold the blade and turn the piece. but for the purposes of demonstration, I'm not going to be using that method. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is that nice little round circle that we've made. We're going to remove it, and if it doesn't come out perfectly round, that's fine. Okay, not everything's perfectly round, and we can always come back and clean up a few little abnormalities with just a little paint. So, in spots that you overlap, be extra careful. Take your time. You don't want to ruin your painting. Particularly, I had it once. I was really tired. I'd been working on this giant piece, and I was working on this tiny little moon. And I probably had like 12 hours into this piece, and was just tired and cut through the canvas and ruined the whole thing. Had to start all over. All right, so now that we've got our nice little circle, this is where the fun starts to happen. So, first, we're gonna pick some really extraordinary colors. And seeing as how we have, or had, I'm not sure, Midnight was here. Oh, it's still here, just camera's off. We're gonna go with some nice house sparkle colors. I'm working on it.
That makes them happy.
Yeah. And let's see. Alright. So now what we're going to want is we're going to want kind of a stiff brush. Oh, you want that one? Alright. Oh, okay, you're right. Consider myself corrected and scolded. Okay, so we're gonna. It doesn't matter if you're using a plate or one of these little fancy guys. You're gonna take. What I like to do is I'll take a splotch of one color, and then right directly next to it, I'll put a splotch of another color. Here, I guess I should be showing you what I'm doing, huh? Pirate, you're not Bob Ross. Alright, so I got that splotch of color, and then let's see, that's pretty close to a Gengar purple. So we're going to go with that right there, next to that pretty teal color, because I like the way that looks. And we're going to throw this orange in here. Everybody's like, dude, Pirate, what are you doing? It's fun. Just wait. You'll see. It's amazing. Okay? Just follow along. Alright. So I got this little guy open. So now I'm going to take some orange. Oh, that's starting to look pretty cool. I know orange isn't in the sparkly flag, but I like the way it looks. And then, bam, bam, bam. There we go. So we got this cool little spectrum of different colors. And I've got my stiff bristle brush here. And I'm going to kind of use my thumb to spread it out just a little bit. And now I'm going to take that brush and I'm just going to dap it. No water. Don't use water. Alright? Because we want this thick. And then we're just going to take and we're going to go whoop. Okay. And that's going to sit and rinse that off really well and dry the best I can, because I don't know if you can see, I didn't quite get as much of the purple and blue as I liked. So there we go. Oh yeah, that looks good. Alright, and we're just going to leave that alone for a minute. Okay. gonna mute real quick. I've got my hair dryer, or Kendra's hair dryer, so I can quick cheater this method, just for demonstration purposes. I don't really recommend you do this on a piece because you want to give the acrylic time to naturally form those bonds. But this will get the job done for what we need.
All right, so while Pirate is drying, I wanted to mention a couple of things about my clouds. So you'll notice that at the bottom of the clouds, I kind of let it fade into the blue behind. And the reason is, as you can see, I want it to fade from our lightest colors at the top to the darker colors at the bottom on every cloud. So you can see this one goes from light, and then I fade it out into the blue in the background. Light, fade it out into the blue in the background. So every time you do a layer of clouds, just kind of keep that in your mind that you want to start your layer underneath, below where your gradient stops. So that way it's a very distinct difference between your clouds. So you can see this is obviously two little layers of cloud, if you will. And one thing that I'll do to give it a little bit of depth, and I'm going to do this when it dries a little bit, is I'll put a little more white on my layers that are in the front to make them pop just a little bit more. So that is definitely something that you can do as well. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I like the effect, and you'll kind of see it in a minute whenever I start hitting it up with the white now that's dried just a little bit. I'll pass it back over to Pirate because it looks like we're doing new things now.
Alright, so I'm just kind of continuing on. I decided up here in the corner I wanted a larger kind of planet. It might end up being a sun, but what I'm wanting to do is, this is where some of you are like, oh no, now what? Alright, so what you want to do is I'm going to take this microphone out of my mouth for one thing, and you want to make your a little mark where it hits the edge on both sides, okay? So that then you can come and you continue with your little round piece, and you just kind of eyeball. There we go. Let's see if you can see where I'm at. Yeah. So you just kind of follow the natural curve from this. Here we go. And we're not going to even take up very much of this space. Right here. There we go. Alright. And you don't have to wrap it around the corner. That's kind of a little more of a challenging move. If you want to attempt it, by all means. If you make a mistake, nobody will know but you. Alright. So, once again, I'm going to come back. Very light. Just enough to cut the tape. Okay. And one thing I find that kind of helps me is, instead of trying to make that whole curve right this second, is go ahead and make a peel here. Right, because that'll kind of help your eyes follow along. Okay. Now, looks like I messed that one up. That's alright.
Hey, Pirate. Is there a trick to not cutting your canvas, or you just have to be really careful?
Not really. It's just you gotta be careful. What you can do is, this is kind of a different method you can go about, is you can take it and get you a mirror, or something like that, and put your tape down on it and make your cut and then put that up there. I just do it this way because I kind of fly by wire when I paint and just decide where I want things as I go. You know, you can prefab 6, 7, 8, 20 different little tape cutouts and just set them down on the canvas where you want. And if you wanted to go that route, then I would recommend taking like a piece of wax paper or something like that. So as soon as you get done making your little outline, say I wanted, I don't know, it doesn't even matter what the shape is, it's just making a point. Say that's what I wanted. I would then take the shape I wanted. I would then take this and just put it on some wax paper so I can lay out all my shapes and then just apply them as I want them. So that works. But for me, I do it this way, like I said, because mostly I just fly by wire. Yeah, that's what fly by wire is.
I mean, it works for you. It looks like it's working. I'm excited. And I see Midnight's painting something. It looks like sparkle colors, which is not even a little surprising, but I love it. What you doing over there, Midnight?
Ooh.
You have to unmute.
An ocean silhouette scene.
Nice.
Like I'm using the gradient for the sky.
I still can't hear you.
Everything in the foreground is going to be black silhouetted.
Nice. I can hear you. You're coming through, so might want to check those sound settings.
Yeah, something's. It's fine. It's probably on my end.
Okay.
Everything's looking
So,
good, y'all. Like I can see Talia's and I can see Pirates, and it's pretty cool to see what's happening.
Nice.
Ah, yeah. Hi. What's up?
We're drinking and smoking hookah right now.
Nice.
Out on the property. I am kicking myself in the rear end right now because I have a canvas and I have plenty of acrylic, so I feel like I could join in, but I'm not feeling in the mood to paint at the moment.
You're not always in the mood to paint. You know, you gotta be inspired.
I feel like
It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It's nice to see you as well,
I
Ariel.
feel absolutely terrible that you got in a car accident after you came to see me.
No, it was 100% not anything that had to do with you, and everything to do with drivers that cannot pay attention to the road. And nobody was hurt, so it's fine. A driver. All right, I see that we have another planet. What colors did you use for that one?
Those were actually the same colors. They've just
Okay.
become a little more muddled because as you dab, your paintbrush into it, obviously, your palette begins to get muddled. And then that was a lighter stroke than what I did over here. So thinner paint and a little bit lighter on the hand. So I actually did that on purpose so you can see you can get very drastically different effects just by how much you dab. If I do this enough, then I won't have any variance left. It'll just be one blob of color. Usually, no matter what colors, it ends up being brown or gray. But okay, so I think we're ready for our first reveal. Let's go over to our tiny little planet that we started first, and very gently, just gonna. Oh, and so there's. Let me see. Make sure. We have
I
our
like it.
first little planet.
Woo.
once we get this done, I'll see about getting some better light. Hold on. Actually, I could probably do that now.
I can start on some other stuff in the meantime. So now comes my favorite part. Well, I don't know. I really like the clouds too. I like doing the clouds. So maybe not my favorite part, but they're tied. So there are a lot of different ways to do stars. Some people will like take their brush and kind of like smatter it to where the little dots end up on the canvas. I personally find a lot more joy in taking a very tiny brush. You can even use like a ballpoint pen if you wanted to do this, and you put it in your white, or if you want to like use a lot, like dip it, and then just start putting stars, and you'll end up with some bigger ones and some little ones as your paint starts to kind of run out, and that's perfect. And the thing about this that I love is I can kind of control where they go. And you can really see them. Like sometimes when you do the splatter effect, they get so tiny that it just gets lost in the painting. And one thing I will say about placing stars, if you're doing it this way and it's not completely random, is that stars are kind of in clusters. They're very random, but at the same time, you end up having a couple of little tiny clusters of them. So usually I will make a couple of clusters and then occasionally just bloop, dab a couple of tiny little ones in between my clusters, and it looks really good. I mean, you could do whatever, honestly. You could do whatever you want. Make sure that you get them kind of close to your clouds, but try not to go behind them because the stars won't really show through the clouds. So just kind of get right up on them, but don't quite cover up your clouds. And make sure that you're doing like different sized little stars because some are farther away than others, you know? Gotta mix it up a little. All right, so do we have better lighting, Pirate?
Yeah, it looks like it. Let's see. Alright. So, and continuing on with that very same palette that we started with, I'm just wanting to show you the versatility of what you can do with just a single set of color. Okay, we're going to now we want to get just a little bit. I like to use a toothbrush for this. Get just a little bit of water on there, and we want to coat our toothbrush. And you want to make sure if you're going to use this method that you do it in an environment that you don't mind if it gets dirty. So I'm going to start with just these colors. I'm going to take it and I'm going to kind of just strum across it. Alright, because not all stars are white. Alright, there we go. So I got some of that, and on this same color palette, I'm just going to come in and start. I've got some titanium white here, and you are going to want this to be somewhat of a wet paint. If it's too dry, you're just going to be painting your finger. That's about all the paint's going to get on. So you want to make sure that you do have fairly runny, not too runny, because you know if it's too watery, you don't really have any pigment. You're just flinging water around. But so I throw a little blob of titanium white. Right, a little bit of water on my brush just because I felt like it was a little too dry. Bam. And don't forget the sides of your painting. Alright. And see there's some splatters over that planet over there. That's fine. Stars come in front of planets all the time. Alright. Alright. So I'm going to get this a little bit closer. Right. So you see what's starting to happen here? We're starting to get all these little speckles of stars. Right? And I'm wanting to kind of keep this painting fairly simple tonight. Nothing complex. So I might come in and maybe we'll do a comet. Can't have space without a comet, right? Talia, are you ready to move on to your next step?
Let's see. I think I'm pretty much done. I'm just adding a couple little extra dots. And you want some kind of empty areas too, because stars are very random. And sometimes there's spots that don't have any stars. You know, you gotta randomize it a little bit. So at this point, you can add a like a moon. You could add whatever you want. I don't think I'm going to do a moon today, but if you did, a great way to do it actually is to wait for your paint to dry and to do exactly what Pirate did for the planets. So you could use masking tape and you could just mask off a little tiny dot, or you could do a really big one. There's a lot of different ways to do a moon depending on how much of a focus you want. So like with this one, I'm going to move it over here. With this one, I didn't want the moon to be the focus, so I made it pretty tiny. But if the whole point of your painting is this gorgeous moon in the background with like some gray spots and a lot of details, then make that thing like the whole painting, right? Just do whatever makes you happy. If you're going to make it go behind the clouds, though, I would recommend putting your moon before you even start your clouds and just letting that dry first. A little bit, because that way your clouds will kind of overlap your moon in a couple of places and it'll look a little more natural, because you know how when you look outside at night the clouds will cover the moon slightly, and that's sort of what you would be going for there. I'm not doing that today, but that is certainly a possibility. So I'm going to let mine dry for a second. I'm actually going to get my masking tape for my next step. Seem to be using a lot of masking tape today. It's a good product.
Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I've taken my roll of masking tape because it seemed to me to be a fairly appropriate size. I've decided that I want an asteroid belt around this thing here. And that's something that I thought you guys might come into your head. Well, man, I got this space painting and, you know, Saturn's got rings. Well, I guess I should probably include some rings on one of the planets. So I took it and I made my little outline from the inside of the roll of the masking tape, and then I just moved it straight up. And when you do that, you actually get the perfect horizon little shape. I'll show it to you in just a second. I'm almost done cutting it. And while we're kind of in this little second of dead air, I want to thank Talia for joining me on the show this evening and doing her painting. It's absolutely beautiful so far.
Honestly, it's a really good excuse, because I was thinking to myself, dang, I kind of want to add something to the ANS coming up, but at the same time, I don't know what to do. And then you were like, do you have anything simple to paint? And I was like, you know what's super simple? Night sky. Super simple, but it comes across really pretty. 10 out of 10. It looks like you put a ton of work into it and that you're like Picasso, but it really doesn't take a lot of skill and a lot of effort, and that's what I love about it. And you can do anything with a night sky. You know, that can be your focus, that can be your background. There's so many cool things you can do, and I mean, the fact that we just used so many different methods to get such different pieces. Shows you how versatile it is, in my opinion. Because pirate, I was talking about how some people will like use the brush to make your little stars, and I was like, that's really cool, but I find it more satisfying to dot them. And there's just so many different things you can do with this, and all of it's pretty easy is the great part. So I think it's a great idea, and it's a great excuse to do some fun A&S stuff for the park. And definitely, if anybody does this or anything similar, I would love to see it. So feel free to message me if you don't want to just blast yourself on the Kingdom page or on the park page, but I would love to see any pictures that any of you do using any of these methods, because they're both really awesome.
For sure.
All right.
And even if it's just, posting a picture up there in the Pirates pub scuttlebutt there, feel free, man. We want to see it. You know, we know how to do this stuff, and we're here for you. And no matter if you think it's the best thing on earth or you think it's absolutely terrible, you should share it, because if you think it's terrible, you're probably wrong, and if you think it's the best thing on earth, well, either you're right or you're probably wrong, and it doesn't really matter because it's art. So, anyhow, all right.
As long as
So
it's the best thing for you, as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's the important thing. It can be the coolest thing in the world for you, and that's great.
And I'll tell you, I've seen $1 million paintings that were literally stick figures. It's like, huh? How much? How much is this painting? It's a stick figure on a box. Yeah, 2.3 million, man. Okay, dude. So art it's all perception. It's worth whatever you think it is, and to me, it's worth the most if you just enjoy doing it. That's the most important thing. So the last thing I mentioned is comment. Comment's pretty easy. There's a couple of different methods. I will show you just the easiest of one. Take it. We're just gonna take. I get a little, kind of like Talia was saying on the star, and I'm just gonna blob. I'm gonna push kind of hard, and then as I pull away, fast and pulling your hand away, right? And see how that gave me just that nice streak. And this was all done with that one single palette that we started with that was inspired by Sparkle.
Who did that?
What's that?
Who's palm tree?
Palm tree? That's Midnight. Yeah, Midnight. All pretty. So pretty, Midnight. You had to come show us up, huh? We were just doing simple education. Midnight's over here like, let me show you how it's done. Teach your little class,
I saw
Pirate.
him print that. He printed that. I saw it.
Anyways, so,
It's supposed to be the view from Storm Surge.
Oh, it's the view from Storm Surge. I'm down. There's something drastically missing. I don't see any swords, but that's alright. Alright,
I think I might try Comet. I think I'm gonna try Comet while you talk.
yeah,
That's
it's
fun
really
too.
easy. And there's other ways to do it, but that one is so ridiculously easy.
You wish me luck.
You don't need luck, girl. You got this.
Oh my gosh, it turned out awful!
If you do it fast enough.
Quick, blot it off.
Yes,
Oh, it's fine, I'm gonna make it work.
Okay, so this brings me up to another thing.
Here.
Talia was talking about, I might do this A&S thing, and if you're gonna try a new technique that you haven't tried before, such as the comet, don't do it on the area that's important to you. Grab a piece of
Don't do
cardboard.
what I did. Please do better.
Grab a piece of cardboard, a piece of paper. Give it a couple of test runs before you jump right in and throw it on your piece. Because while it was cute, now I feel horrible. I feel like it's my fault.
No, it's perfect. It actually is fine. I have evened it out. Everything is okay.
Okay, so
Don't do that. Just try it out. If it mess up.
No, it's perfect. I love it.
no
I did a
painting
moon.
is complete
I
without
did a little moon.
knowing who painted it. So obviously, you can get as complex with this as you want. I just kind of wanted to run through some stuff. Anyone who's interested in more advanced techniques, like I'd be more than happy to do that. This class was just kind of an entry level. Let's have some fun and do a little painting. And, you don't have to, if you don't want your signature floating off right in the middle of the space, you can put it on the rim. You don't even have to sign it. But I'm going to sign this one right here. Right? And then one thing I find that I like to do when I sign a painting, because you might give it away, or even if you can keep on to it, years down the road you might look at it, and when you see that year you go, wow, was it really that long ago, blah blah blah, or whatever. Or in my case, you start looking at paintings and you realize that it's been a while since that year's changed, so you need to motivate yourself. So here we are with an apostrophe 21. Okay, always remember to clean your brush as soon as you're done using it. It will make your life so much simpler. So let's get up here and boom. There we are, one space painting.
I love it so much. I
like
learned a
that the
lot
stars are
actually.
different colors.
Oh, I see you. Alright, so now I'm going to shut down my painting section and I'm going to go over and focus on the show. That was so much fun. I learned so much today. I don't even
It
want
is.
to discuss what all went into setting up this broadcast for you today. But I had everything laid out, and then I started trying to figure out the essentials of the broadcast as soon as I got off work at 5:30, and I finished nailing it down at like 7:48. Yeah, so I hope it all went well. Let's see that beautiful piece you got there, Midnight. Oh my gosh. Gorgeous.
I'm looking for my white pen because I want to do stars.
Okay. Get this guy over here. Okay, that was awesome, that part. Then I'm gonna come back over here to my stuff. Plug in my nice headset.
I can do it with a pencil. I can do it with a pencil. There we go.
Hey, Midnight, you want to walk us through anything fun you did while we're chilling here? Or what you're doing now? I'm assuming you're doing some stars.
Yeah. So I had a canvas that was
We doing
sprayed
stars?
silver. Oh, wait, am I muted? No, I'm good. Okay, so I had a canvas that was sprayed completely silver,
Right.
like a chrome
Can
canvas.
you guys hear me?
And then it's the acrylic paint mixed with glaze medium.
can
So
hear
everything's
midnight again, but I'm
transparent.
just gonna let it roll because somebody else probably can't.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh no!
I hear
Affirmative. I can hear you.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not even talking.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yay. I've about figured all this stuff out. I'm so excited.
You're doing great. I'm enjoying this a lot.
This has come so far from that first video with no audio.
Who's the?
The great thing about acrylics is that they dry fast. That's why I love them.
Yes, and I was gonna mention, I used that hairdryer, but it literally only made like a 1.5 to 2 minute difference.
Right. Like
Right.
it doesn't make that much of a
Yeah.
difference. Even if you do a thick layer, thankfully.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really. What are you talking about? That comment doesn't look bad.
I mean, not now. I had to fix it. It's fine.
Okay, now I'm gonna get
At first, it was like the shortest comment to ever exist.
the shortest comment to ever exist.
Yeah, it was like a dot and then a slight smear. It looked like an accident. I was like, oh no.
Oh, because you picked your hand up too fast.
I did.
Yeah.
I picked my hand up way too fast. Please practice before you put it on your final piece, guys.
on your final piece. Hold on, just.
And practice makes perfect is the great thing about painting. Like, even if you're a pro at it, which I am by no means a pro, you're always learning new things and always practicing if you're doing it correctly, in my personal opinion. Ooh, I like it.
It's dark. I want to make sure that
Our Triforce is coming together.
I need to get one of these.
I wish I could pull off something like that. I have no visual art
Makes it
experience
worse.
whatsoever.
Backlighting.
Go back and watch this video and you will find that this does not take skill.
No.
It really does not take skill. Neither of these paintings took skill. They just took knowing how to do it, and that's what we're here for.
That was so easy. In fact, let me see if I can get a better picture quality over here from this camera. Grab that painting.
My thumb is like dumb.
It's got like a beach sunset.
Yep, that is what Midnight is doing. So Midnight's doing like a sunset. Pirate did a space painting with some planets and a comet that looks better than mine does because he's better at it than I am. And that is what practice does, people, is practicing until you get it right. And then being able to do it in one fell swoop.
It's outer space scene or night skies.
Well, your night sky would be Talia, and this would be your space scene. So Talia's got the night sky with some clouds and some nice star clusters, which are really pretty, and her nice comet. And now she's got some other. Oh, it's going to be the Triforce. We talked about this. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The Triforce, like Zelda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zelda.
Our local park, Traders Gate here in San Antonio, is about to do an arts and sciences competition, and the theme is Legends of Zelda. Legend of Zelda. So that's what I am working on right now, because I was like, if I'm going to go through the effort of doing this and showing people how to do it, I really want to make it into something that I can use in a competition to help people out and show people that you can do cool things, and you don't necessarily have to have great skill levels. Like you can literally just take a ruler and make this triangle and do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take Picasso to do this. It doesn't take a Van Gogh to do these things. They just look more impressive than they actually need
Yeah,
as far as skill level.
Like you can put more time into it and come out with something way more incredible. But for what we just did, I mean, I don't know if y'all were watching, but literally that was like maybe an hour, you know, and that was going really slow, taking turns to explain things. Like all in all, it probably take you 20, 30, 45 minutes.
Eyeballs floating in the darkness.
Eyeballs in the darkness. It's Eevee. Hello, Eevee.
Oh, and
Who's that Pokemon? Eevee.
Even
Kendra made Eevee. Dun, 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 dun. That is a crocheted piece by Kendra.
you made that? Are you kidding? What?
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Kendra
I
has an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
It's called Crochet Crafts. I'll put a link up. It's her store. She doesn't even know what it's called. It hasn't been up that long, but she's made all kinds of stuff. But Kendra just started crocheting at Christmas.
No way.
Yeah, I got her a Star Wars. Actually, not even that long ago, because it took her like 2.5 months to decide she was going to do it. So
around Christmas time because
there was,
the
yeah, she's maybe been crocheting like 3 months.
Maybe what?
That's amazing.
3 months?
Okay, yeah, that's better. I thought you said
Yeah.
3 weeks. I was like,
No,
no.
about 3 months.
I tried crocheting once and I lasted a week.
I haven't even put my hands to it yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to or not.
I made like a super uneven square about yay big in a week. And I was like, you know what? I can admit defeat, I feel like. And crochet is just it's not a thing that I'm really great at, I don't think. And I get discouraged kind of easily sometimes. And that was one of those times. But this is so satisfying. I love taking off the tape.
Yes, it's so fun.
It is.
Oh, look at it, look at it, look at it. Ah, it's so
Last
nice.
one.
Boom. It's so G.
And I left it a little bit, like I could put more layers so that you can't see the stars and stuff in the background, but I really liked the way it looked when I put just the one layer.
Yeah, no, I like it just like that. I wouldn't thicken it up. I think it would take away from it.
Right. I feel the same. I might do some like baby triangles off to the sides or something just to kind of jazz it up and put a little extra spin on it, but I think I'm
I don't
pretty much
think I
done.
would.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't think I would. I think, just like when you're cooking, you get to that point where it's like, man, this is amazing, and then you add like 1 or 2 more ingredients,
And then you're like, dang,
and it all falls apart. Yeah.
doing
So,
too much.
that's
Sometimes you
it.
can do too much.
Sometimes, and I think, as it stands, it's that. Yeah, I mean that's pointing like, yeah, that happens.
I
was doing too much. Just stop. So I think that looks amazing, Tala, and from one artist to another, I would recommend stop.
I'm gonna get my tiny brush and put my little artist signature in gold at the bottom. I love gold and blue. I love it so much, and it's 2 of the 3 Trader's Gate colors. Actually, I've used all 3 Trader's Gate colors. I have used all the Trader's Gate colors in this, and that was not my intention, but I am very happy with that now because I've used gold, black, and blue. Boom.
Yay.
Trader's Gate.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm just now comprehending that all of my part colors have changed, and I get to have blue too now. Yay! No more red and black. I mean, I don't have
I
anything.
usually put the date too, but I'll write it on the back of the canvas. Like,
yeah.
yeah, because I I like my signature to be like super tiny.
See, that's what I
Like-
usually do, but I don't know. I felt like I was out there, so
I put
Do
mine
it.
on the side.
yeah. See, I'll usually sign on the rim or small in the corner like Talia's doing, but
Constantine, keep me
I
in front
don't
of
know. I felt inspired to float in space today.
Alright.
The LOZ competition. Anyone think about making an Orchiana out of ceramic?
Out of ceramic, huh? Well, I
Yeah,
would
an
like to see it.
Orchiana. Sweet potato flute, as they call it. Because the thing looks like a sweet potato.
Ocarina?
Yeah, ocarina, Orchiana,
Yeah,
I forget how
gotcha.
they pronounce it.
Yeah. Speaking of ocarina, I think Kendra was considering crocheting an
I'm
ocarina.
stuck between the blanket and the ocarina.
I love
like
those.
crocheting.
Do the ocarina of time.
Well, if I do it, it would be.
I play the flute, and I used to have all the songs memorized from Zelda, and I really need to get back to it.
We could always get a real ocarina, and you just make an ocarina of time sheath that goes over it, and then it would actually work.
I know somebody that has an ocarina.
No.
Nice.
It's Midnight. Midnight has an ocarina.
Oh, there,
Gotta play
there
the
Midnight goes to
Zelda
get it.
theme when it.
So has anyone
The
ever
Zelda
seen?
main theme.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Has anyone ever? Oh, there it
Nice.
is. There's the ocarina.
Nice.
Yeah.
That has to be tricky to play.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but it's very pretty. Very cool.
It's like there's a Triforce on it. It's not official without
It's
the
not official
Triforce.
without the Triforce.
You could paint a Triforce on it,
Ooh,
Midnight.
I like
It's
that
not
one.
skills. You have two? I thought you just had the one.
I like that one.
Oh no, here we go.
Rarely hear that.
It was very light, but that's alright. Yay! So much fun. Alright, so it looks like all of those paintings I've completed, so I'm going to go ahead and end our broadcast for the evening. We can hang out here, but I just want to kind of wrap up all of the officialities. So, I'd like to take a brief moment to officially thank my good friends, the Pirate Charles. As always, I am so thankful that you guys have given me the rights to be able to play your music on my streams. That's awesome. Spoo, man, hats off to you, bro. The intro song tonight was the beginning of a song called Chasing the Wind. And I think we'll finish up our night with the slightly more traditional move by my part. Take a second to get over to it here. Actually, nah. We're gonna play Sand in the Rum.
Hate when that happens.
Arr. You know, I went to go and visit after living at the beach for a long time, and I had a drink with a friend, and it didn't taste right. And I got home and I figured out it was because it didn't have sand. It's the truth. Alright, so thank you for joining us on Pirates Pub and Academy. Join us next week as I discuss Amtgard, the magical school of death. Where are my necros at?